Here's some facts that'll definitely save your life. The first one is very obvious, but you could be attacked by a random attacker anytime. This could happen anytime, especially at night, while you're walking home, while you're in a parking garage, or while you're simply running errands. In some chilling and very disturbing cases, there are reports of people being attacked randomly by complete strangers. These people could target and attack you, not because of a personal vendetta, but simply because of the opportunity. Their goal is to take advantage of your vulnerability. This is why it is so important that you always trust your gut instincts, that you stay mindful and aware of your surroundings, always have your phone on your hands at all times, and avoid walking alone in poorly lit areas. Take a self-defense class. Keep a pepper spray or any form of self-defense item on you when possible. You could be poisoned by a stranger. While you might think it's rare, there have been increasing reports of people being poisoned at restaurants or by unsuspecting delivery services. A seemingly innocent meal could be tainted by someone who seeks to hurt you. There's something as simple as a tainted meal or drink. Upon dining out, you must always check for signs that your food has been tampered with. Signs include strange tastes, odors, or appearances. If you're ever in doubt, do not eat it. Never ever accept food or drinks from strangers unless you trust them completely. Stay safe. Here are some facts that will definitely save your life. Stalkers tend to hide in plain sight. It's not always a shadowy figure lurking in the alley. Sometimes a stalker is actually someone in your life, a co-worker, an acquaintance, or even a family member. These people study your routine, making their approach almost unnoticeable at first. They may even offer a friendly help, but little do you know, their intentions are actually to control and hurt you. Their true danger lies in their ability to blend into your everyday world. You must always pay attention to odd behavior and comments. If someone constantly knows your movements or makes you feel uncomfortable, take action immediately. Be very direct, be very quick. Set boundaries, block them online, and inform others. In more extreme cases, seek legal help or a restraining order. Public Wi-Fis are more dangerous and insidious than you think. While you're at a cafe or an airport or any public place, you may be connected to a public Wi-Fi without any thought. What you don't know is that this Wi-Fi can be hacked by anyone within range. Hackers can steal information, your passwords, or even your location, all while you're browsing through the web. This is why it is so important to have your own mobile data while in public. Avoid public Wi-Fis as much as you can, even if they're encrypted. And if you absolutely must use a public Wi-Fi, avoid doing anything sensitive, like banking or personal transactions, all on public Wi-Fi. Be sure to use a VPN to protect your data, and be very sure to turn off any sharing feature on your device. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. If you are ever hiking, climbing, or just even walking through a city, you might not realize how easy it is for someone to attach a small tracking device to your belongings. These devices, like small carabiners with hidden GPS chips, are so tiny you wouldn't even notice they were attached to your coat or bag. In the most chilling and disturbing cases, a predator can track and know your every move, being fully aware of where exactly you are at all times. It is absolutely crucial that before you go on a hike or travel, that you inspect your belongings carefully and thoroughly. Always check for unusual items, especially attached to bags or zippers. And you may want to consider using a portable GPS blocker for your valuables. Hidden surveillance cameras are everywhere, especially in public places. Imagine you're sitting down at a quiet cafe or even a bathroom stall at a rest stop. You think you're safe and relaxed, but little do you know, hidden surveillance cameras are watching you. Even the most ordinary of places can have small discrete cameras that capture everything from your appearance to your conversations, and these will be later used to track and manipulate you. You must always be mindful and aware of your surroundings. Be very wary of tiny blinking lights or out-of-place objects that might indicate a hidden camera. Always trust your instincts. If something feels off, leave immediately. You must always keep your privacy safe, even in the most mundane places. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. Your hands could be a death trap. Wet or sweaty hands can make it nearly impossible to climb or escape from slippery surfaces during an emergency. You may want to consider using chalk, gloves, or towel to maintain grip, especially when climbing or escaping dangerous situations. Gas station static fires can be caused by the smallest mistakes. Static electricity can ignite gasoline fumes while you're refueling your car. This can and will lead to fires or even explosions. Always touch a metal part of your car before refueling to discharge static, and avoid re-entering your vehicle during the process. With the unseen dangers of food delivery, your delivery driver could be a criminal in disguise. Some criminals and even some delivery drivers themselves use food deliveries as a guise to case around houses and commit crimes. You want to always make sure that you verify the identity of the delivery person. This could be through the app or by asking their name before opening the door. Hair ties can cut off blood flow. Tight hair ties around your wrist can cause deep cuts and infection, and they can even block the flow of blood if they're left on for too long. This is why you must avoid keeping hair ties on your wrist for extended periods. Consider using a bag or pocket to store them instead. Stay safe. Facts will definitely save your life. A stranger asking to borrow your phone could steal your data. Some criminals can be very insidious and very quick. When handed your phone, some criminals can quickly access sensitive apps, send money transfers, or install malware. They usually do this by running away with your phone and then you finding your phone in odd places later. However, some are so quick that upon handing your phone back to you, you wouldn't even notice they did anything. In such scenarios, you must always decline requests to lend your phone. Instead, offer to make the call on their behalf while keeping your phone in your possession. Burglars sometimes hide in attics for days before striking. Home intruders have been known to hide in basements, closets, and attics to study a victim's habits. In most cases, they usually target those living alone. They wait for a vulnerable moment, usually while you're sleeping or while the house is empty. You want to make sure that you regularly inspect unused parts of your home. Make sure to always lock the doors to all rooms, not just the front and back doors. If you ever hear strange noises, always investigate with others or call for help. Never investigate alone. Predators such as human traffickers and serial killers often target individuals who ignore minor red flags. Many predators look for test response to see how you react to very subtle following and stalking, intrusive questions, or small breaches of personal space. If you dismiss their behavior, they immediately see you as a target. Always trust your gut. If someone's behavior feels off or wrong, prioritize your safety over being polite. Try as best as you can to create distance. Be sure to seek immediate help and make noise to draw attention. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. A knock on your door, no matter what time it is, could be an imposter. What if someone showed up at your door, claiming to be from your utility company, the police, or an emergency? They seem quite legitimate, but in reality, they're really just people trying to look for a way to enter your home, to rob you, to harm you, or worse. It's a tactic used by criminals to gain access to your most personal spaces. Cases like these should always serve as a reminder to always verify the identity of anyone who comes to your door, even if they seem legitimate. Call the company or agency they claim to be from and never let anyone in without proper identification. If you ever feel uneasy, call the police immediately. People can actually drown in as little as 2 inches of water. If someone is ever unconscious and laying face down, even shallow water can block the airway and cause drowning. In such cases, always turn an unconscious person to their side, aka the recovery position, to keep the airway open. This should be common knowledge at this point. A frostbite can occur in under 30 minutes under freezing temperatures. Prolonged exposure to extreme cold causes the tissue to freeze, causing permanent damage or even amputation. Remember to always cover any exposed skin when out in the cold. You must stay dry as much as you can, and if your face, toes, or fingers start to turn pale or go numb, seek shelter immediately. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. Microwave explosions are fatal and common. Superheating liquids in a microwave can cause them to explode violently, leading to burns and severe eye injuries. You want to always make sure that you never microwave liquids for too long. Always stir them midway through heating to avoid superheating. Snake in toilets are eerily common as well. Often during warm climates, snakes sometimes enter through homes through plumbing and hide in the toilets. You must always check the toilet seat before sitting down, especially in areas where snakes are common. And speaking of snakes, if you are ever bitten by one, this is what you must do. You must stay calm and immobilized. Remain as still as possible to slow the spread of the venom. If you can, keep the bitten limb or body part below heart level. If accessible, call emergency services immediately. Be very swift to seek medical attention and provide as much detail as possible about the snake. If you can, take a picture of it. Do not suck the venom out. At all costs, avoid cutting the wound, sucking the venom out, or applying ice to it. These actions can worsen the injury. Do not do them. Immediately remove tied items. Avoid rings, watches, or any tied items near the site, as swelling may occur. Keep the bite clean. Cover the bite with a clean, dry dressing to reduce the risk of infection. You must get medical help as soon as possible, in fact, immediately. Always remember that anti-venom is the only effective treatment to venomous bites. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. Phantom callers are not urban legends. There have been a number of cases of people receiving seemingly innocent calls from wrong numbers, but little do these people know that these callers might not even be strangers at all. They may already know pieces of information about your life, such as your schedule, the places you frequent, or even your family members. If they could learn enough about you just by your social media or by hacking devices, they could turn a wrong number call into something much sinister. You want to make sure that you never share personal information or details over the phone, especially if the caller sounds unfamiliar. Even if you feel it could just be a marketing call, be cautious. You may want to consider using a trusted app or even change your settings to block any unknown numbers. And if you ever feel uncomfortable, hang up immediately. Criminals have been known to carjack cars through remote access. You could be at a red light feeling absolutely safe, but there's a chance that a hacker is somewhere silently accessing and controlling your car system. Modern vehicles have intricate electronics, and there have been documented cases of carjackers hacking into the car's remote system and taking full control of the car from a distance, ultimately locking you inside and driving away with your vehicle. There have even been documented cases of people taking this to the extreme and intentionally crashing the car remotely, ultimately killing those inside. If your car isn't encrypted or security locked in any way, avoiding this is incredibly difficult, but here's what you can do. Always lock your cars immediately, even when stopped in traffic. If something ever feels odd, such as your car locking and unlocking without any reason, stay to a well-lit area and call for help immediately. Stay safe. Facts will definitely save your life. Your body can go into shock after a severe injury, even if you feel fine. Shock reduces blood flow to your vital organs, which can lead to a collapse or death. Symptoms include pale skin, confusion, or shallow breathing. If you ever experience these symptoms, immediately lay down on your back, elevate your legs, and stay warm while waiting for help. Never ever assume you're okay without medical evaluation. Escalators can trap and even crush you if pieces of clothing or laces get caught. Not only should this be common knowledge, but it should really go without saying that the chances of this ever happening to you can increase drastically if you're not careful or mindful, especially when you're distracted on your phone or distracted in any other way when on the escalator. Loose items like scarves, shoelaces, or bag straps can become caught in the escalator's mechanisms, pulling you in. Remember to always stand clear of the edges and tie up any loose items. And in the case of an emergency, immediately hit the red stop button located at the ends of the escalator. And finally, adrenaline often masks the symptoms of a heart attack. Many, if not most people, actually ignore chest tightness, dizziness, or pain, assuming it's not that serious, especially during physical activity. If you ever suspect a heart attack, be extremely swift to chew aspirin as fast as you can and call emergency services immediately. Do not drive yourself to the hospital. Stay safe. Facts will definitely save your life. Most abductions occur near vehicles. Criminals often wait for their victims to let their guard down and unlock the car before attacking. Always check under your car, your back seat, and your surroundings before getting in. And you may want to consider carrying your keys in your hand to use as a weapon if necessary. A single dose of untreated rabies is 99.9% fatal after the symptoms start to appear. Rabies often incubate in your bodies for weeks or even months, giving no clear warning signs until it's too late. Once the symptoms start to appear, there is almost no chance of survival. If you are ever bitten or scratched by any mammal, be it a puppy or a bat, wash the wound immediately with soap and water. And you must seek medical attention for post-exposure prophylaxis, also known as PAP, immediately. Your stomach can actually burst if you try to power through vomiting after overeating or poisoning. Overeating or ingesting toxins can cause extreme pressure in the stomach. If you ever suppress vomiting in these cases, your stomach lining can rupture, which is life-threatening. This is why it is so important that if you ever feel intense stomach pain or bloating after overeating or ingesting something toxic, do not fight the urge to vomit. Instead, expel the contents safely and seek medical attention immediately. Stay safe. Here's some real-world scenarios that can happen to anyone, including yourself, and this is how you can save your own life. After a long day's work, you stop by for a coffee, but upon paying for it, your phone fails to process the payment. Confused, you try again. Upon failing, you use cash. The unease lingers. By the time you get home, that's when you realize nothing works. Your phones and smart devices are unresponsive, and any attempts to log into your accounts fail. You are completely locked out of everything, from your bank to your social media to your email. Your identity gone. The next morning, you wake up to the police arriving at your doorstep with a warrant for your arrest. They accuse you of wire fraud, illicit purchases, and crimes you didn't even commit. They show you documents, the signed, the dated, and even video evidence. It's undeniable, but you know you've done none of it. Literally pleading that your identity has been stolen does nothing. Your accounts show the same transactions. Your phone has tracked every move. Everyone around you turns cold, unsure if you're the criminal or the victim. Your life is completely tarnished. Your money is gone, and your life is spiraling into a nightmare of accusations. Every single attempt to clear your own name fails. It's as if someone has lived your life perfectly, right down to the lies you were never told. The real criminal is out there, hidden, and you wonder how long you'll be until they come for the rest of you. At this point, you are immediately in danger because they have every single information and documents about you. Here are some life-saving advices. Immediately alert authorities. Be very swift to contact your local police to report identity theft. You must file a detailed report and immediately demand for an investigation for the crimes that have been attributed to you. Be sure to provide evidence that you have been locked out of all of your accounts and have been unable to access your own identity. Next, you must contact your financial institutions. You must call your bank, credit card companies, and other financial institutions immediately. Be swift to freeze your accounts to prevent further unauthorized access. Request a fraud alert on your credit file and ensure that no new accounts can be opened in your name. Once you've done that, be very quick to contact Identity Theft Protection Services or anything of the equivalent. Engage with them as they specialize in these cases. They can help monitor and restore your credit, and in some cases even provide legal support. They may also help you take steps in clearing your name. Contact a lawyer immediately. They can assist in defending you against false accusations, especially when the evidence is fabricated or misattributed. Having an attorney who understands the complexity of digital crimes is crucial for your survival. Document everything. You want to make sure that you keep a meticulous record of everything, including phone calls, emails, everything. Every single evidence and document related to your case. This documentation will be vital in proving your innocence. If you can, try to reinstate your digital presence. Try to work with tech professionals to regain access to your accounts. Make sure you alert your friends and families about your situations immediately, and be very sure to provide them with context to help ease the confusion. And speaking of family and friends, you might want to consider not living alone for the next few months. Yes, I mean the next few months. Crimes of this nature, especially knowing that you've been isolated digitally and the real criminal is out there, requires you to stay for long periods of time with other people. And finally, after everything, remember to be calm and persistent in this situation. Always remember that the most distressing and disturbing part of this case is that you don't know why you're being compromised. You don't know who the criminal is, and you don't know the reason for which your accounts were compromised. For that is the reason why this is so scary. Do not stop fighting for your innocence even when the process seems endless. The goal here is to take control of the situation step by step, ultimately minimizing the damage while working towards clearing your name. It is absolutely crucial not to panic. Remember to focus on one action at a time. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. Your pillow could be poisoning you. Dust mites, mold, and bacteria accumulate in pillows over time. This can potentially cause respiratory issues or allergies. You must always remember to wash your pillowcases regularly, at least once a week, and replace them once every 1 or 2 years. You are more likely to ignore fire alarms. In very disturbing cases, many people assume that fire alarms are false alarms. Unfortunately, this ultimately means they lose precious seconds to escape. If you ever are in the presence of a fire alarm, treat it as an immediate threat. Do not dismiss it. You must treat every alarm as real, exit the building immediately, then verify safety. And speaking of fires, your smartphone can set you on fire. Lithium-ion batteries in phones can overheat and explode. This is especially true if your phone is more dated or it's damaged. This is why it is very important to avoid exposing your phone to extreme heat. And if you can, try the best of your ability to not charge your phone and leave them in soft surfaces like beds or couches. Stay safe. Facts will definitely save your life. Anaphylaxis can happen without prior allergic reaction. Severe allergic reactions can occur very suddenly, even in people with no known allergies. Things that trigger such allergic reactions include food, insect bites, or medication. This is why it is so important that you always carry antihistamines and an epinephrine injector at all costs if you ever have a history of allergies. Always treat such cases as immediate and life-threatening and act fast. If someone ever starts to show symptoms like throat swelling, difficulty breathing, or fainting, call emergency services immediately. A seemingly minor scratch from a stray cat can cause deadly sepsis. Cat scratch disease, caused by Bartonella henselae, can escalate to serious infection in your bloodstream and organs, particularly if left untreated. You must clean any animal bite or scratch thoroughly with soap and water, and be very swift to seek medical advice if it becomes swollen, red, or painful. Stay safe. Facts will definitely save your life. Brain aneurysms can strike without warning. An undiagnosed aneurysm can rupture at any time, leading to permanent damage or death. If you ever experience the worst headache with your life, coupled with vision issues, fainting, or nausea, seek medical emergency care immediately. A tooth infection can spread to your brain. Untreated abscesses or severe tooth infections can spread and travel through the bloodstream. This can end up to your brain, potentially leading to brain abscess or sepsis. This is why you should never ignore tooth pain or swelling. You want to seek dental care early to prevent complications. Falling asleep in a running car can and will kill you, obviously. This is because in very disturbing cases, carbon monoxide buildup can occur even in open spaces if the car's ventilation is faulty. And this is especially dangerous in enclosed spaces and areas like garages. Never ever leave your car running in an enclosed space. If you are ever feeling drowsy, immediately stop driving and find a safe place to rest away from the vehicle. Stay safe. The following topic is serious. It's real world and it can happen to you. If you don't want this to ever happen to you, watch this video. Organ hunters are definitely not urban legends. They exist, and they may target unsuspecting travelers. Some places around the world, especially in countries with the highest rate of human trafficking, the organ harvesting and organ trade market is very real and a chilling reality. The method often involves the victim unknowingly being drugged or immediately kidnapped. Then their organs are surgically removed in secret clinics. These clinics are often in very unsanitary conditions, with many of the surgeries performed in these clinics conducted by poorly trained or unlicensed medical practitioners who cut corners just to maximize profit. And after all of that, very rarely will the victims receive post-surgical care. And you might be wondering, how do victims survive such dangerous surgeries? This is because most of these trading groups target the kidney, the liver, or the lungs. If you remove one or parts of these organs, the victim can still be left alive. However, in many terrifying and disturbing documented cases, some surgeons remove the heart, intestines, and the pancreas, which is essential for life. Removing these organs would mean that the victim would die immediately. After the process of surgery, the victims would often be discarded, leaving them to die or abandoned to survive with permanent lasting trauma. This is without dramatization. Organ hunters exist. Always be aware of vulnerable situations. Before traveling, always let a trusted individual or as many trusted individuals know your plans. Let your families and friends know your location. Always research the areas you plan to visit, especially if they're high risk for human trafficking. Always avoid regions with weak law enforcement and avoid regions with high trafficking rates. If you plan to temporarily work in a foreign country, always verify your job offers. Be very cautious of too good to be true opportunities abroad. Stay alert. Remember to always avoid isolations. Always stick to a well-lit and populated area. Never ever share your health details or ID with strangers. Trust your instincts. Leave a situation if it feels off. Always use trusted transport. Stick to licensed taxis or apps. Do not accept food and drinks from strangers. Never accept offers from strangers to avoid being drugged. Always know your exits and avoid distractions like your phone. Consider learning trafficking red flags. Trafficking red flags include coercion, fake charities, or very forced medical tests. And speaking of medical tests, do not accept any offers of it. Do not agree to free health exams or procedures. Try your absolute best to avoid unregulated clinics and avoid traveling alone in unfamiliar places. Be extremely wary of overly friendly strangers offering help, especially in isolated areas. And finally, to ensure the safety of others, always report suspicious activity to local authorities or anti-trafficking organizations. Remember to always stay vigilant, trust your instincts, and prioritize your safety, as well as the safety of others. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will save your life. Knockout drugs can be administered through handshakes or papers. In some very disturbing cases, some attackers use substances like scopolamine, which can be absorbed through skin contact, ultimately incapacitating their victims. You want to make sure that you always avoid unnecessary physical contact with strangers. If you ever suspect exposure from such drugs, wash your hands immediately and seek immediate help. A car that's parked too close to you could be a signal for an ambush. Attackers often park close to their target's vehicle to trap them during exit or entry. This tactic is and has been used for abductions and robberies. If you ever see that a car seems suspiciously close, run immediately. Re-enter the building or ask security to escort you to your car. Some abductions can happen in broad daylight with no intervention. Predators often rely on the bystander effect, where people assume that someone else will intervene or at least act. This ultimately means that victims are literally dragged into vehicles or attacked with little to no resistance from witnesses. That is why it is so important that if you ever feel like you're in danger and you're in a scenario like this, it is important to not yell but scream specific phrases like, "This is not my mom or dad," "This is not my partner, girlfriend, or boyfriend," or literally yell phrases like, "Call the police." And another very effective method would be to point out to another stranger within the heat of the moment, judging from their appearance or their features, and tell them to call the police. For example, "You in the blue shirt, call the police." At all cost, obliterate the bystander mentality, especially in a situation like this. Stay safe. Facts that will definitely save your life. Victims of abductions have often been kept alive for decades in captivity. Some abductors, including human traffickers and cartels, go to horrifying lengths and methods just to make sure that their victims are kept alive. Methods include confining the victims in basements, soundproof rooms, or underground bunkers. And the victims are often left psychologically broken and stripped of any hope of escape. Always trust your instincts around strangers, avoid isolated areas, and always keep your loved ones informed about your whereabouts. It should always be common knowledge that if you are ever restrained and taken to a second location, that your chances of survival drop so significantly that it is almost impossible. However, in such cases where you are taken to a second location, there's always something you can do to maximize your chances of survival. The moment you are ever restrained, your number one goal should be to always stay observant of certain details, like sounds, smell, and routine to aid in potential escape and rescue. Your chances of escape and rescue are very, very low, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. Burglars sometimes call you before breaking in. Some criminals call potential victims, pretending to be from a company or from a survey to confirm that they're not home. This is why it is so important to always be cautious of unsolicited calls, especially ones with no caller ID. Never ever disclose your current location or your schedule to strangers over the phone. That lost wallet is a fake scheme used by criminals to target Good Samaritans. Criminals may pretend to have lost their wallet and wait for someone to approach them with sympathy. Then that's when they pickpocket them, rob them, or worse. Always be mindful and wary of your surroundings when helping strangers with lost items. I repeat, stay aware and vigilant of your surroundings and your personal belongings. Attics and crawl spaces can and have been used as hiding spots for intruders. There have been a disturbing amount of documented cases of strangers living in homes for days or even weeks, eating food, stealing items, and observing the homeowners. You want to make sure that you regularly check unused spaces and areas of your home. And most especially, you want to make sure that you secure all access points, like attic doors, crawl spaces, or basement windows. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. Some people actually wake up during their own autopsies. In rare but very terrifying cases, some people have been declared dead prematurely only to regain consciousness while they're being cut open during an autopsy. This is often due to catalepsy or simply improper medical checks. Always insist on a thorough medical examination if your loved one was recently declared deceased unexpectedly, and be very wary of low medical resource facilities. Hotels can be breeding grounds for hidden cameras and peeping stalkers. In some very disturbing and corrupt cases, hidden cameras are installed in hotel rooms to record guests unknowingly, often with footage being uploaded to exploitative websites. Predators can even use these cameras to learn the victim's routines. This is why you should always be mindful before booking into and entering hotel rooms. Inspect smoke detectors, wall sockets, and other inconspicuous areas for hidden cameras. Use a flashlight to spot lenses and keep very private and sensitive moments to a minimum in unfamiliar areas. Burglars and even killers often case homes by posing as service workers. Criminals may impersonate delivery drivers, utility workers, or surveyors to study your home's layout, schedule, and vulnerabilities before striking. Always verify the credentials of anyone who comes to your door. Do not share any personal information or let strangers into your home. Stay safe. Here's some facts that'll definitely save your life. Some victims are targeted simply because they're polite. Predators often target and choose victims who hesitate to refuse any request for help or conversation. This perceived niceness can make it easier to manipulate and isolate their targets. Always be rude in a situation like this. It is okay to prioritize your safety over appearing rude. Decline and withdraw from any conversation with strangers if you ever feel uncomfortable. And remember, always trust your gut instincts. Some abductions are pre-planned for months or even years. Predators and stalkers may spend months or years studying their victims, learning their routines, vulnerabilities, and they often gain their trust before attacking. Always be cautious of anyone who is overly invested in your life for no reason. You want to make sure that you change your routines frequently and always keep your personal details private. Car trunks have been used as holding cells for kidnapping victims. Victims are often restrained and thrown into car trunks, where they can suffocate or die from dehydration if they're not found quickly. Cases like these should serve as a lesson on why you should know how to escape a car trunk, by locating the emergency release or by kicking out the taillights to signal for help. And you may want to consider teaching this to loved ones. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will save your life. Honey traps are used to lure victims into deadly situations. Criminals may sometimes use attractive accomplices or fake romantic interests to draw victims into isolated areas where they're robbed, attacked, or killed. Remember to always be cautious and wary of strangers who are overly forward or seem too good to be true, and avoid meeting new people in private locations. People have been murdered while investigating fake cries for help. Some attackers, especially criminal groups, mimic distress calls, like a woman or a child screaming for help, to lure victims into an ambush. If you ever hear a cry for help in a very odd and dangerous area, run immediately! Do not and don't ever investigate alone. Call the authorities to investigate instead of yourself. In some countries, tourists disappear without a trace every year. Foreigners are often targeted for their vulnerability, being unfamiliar with the local area, the laws, or the language. Some of them vanish into trafficking rings or are killed for ransom. This is why it is so crucial and important that you research destinations thoroughly. You must plan extremely well before traveling to another country, especially ones that are high in crime. Avoid traveling alone and stay in well-populated areas, and always share your itinerary with someone that you trust. Stay safe. Facts that will definitely save your life. Sleepwalking can lead people into life-threatening situations. There are indeed documented cases of sleepwalkers wandering into streets, climbing onto roofs, or unknowingly putting themselves into grave danger while unconscious. If you or someone you know sleepwalks, always ensure that the home is secure. Make sure to lock all doors and windows, and to ensure that you install safety barriers, especially on staircases. Criminals use tagging methods to target and signal victims for future crimes. Very subtle markings like chalk symbols, stickers, or strings are sometimes left on properties to indicate vulnerability for theft and robbery or other attacks. You want to make sure that you regularly inspect your home and property, and if you ever see suspicious markings anywhere, remove it immediately, and be very swift to report them to local authorities if they persist. Predators can impersonate rescuers during emergencies. During disasters or emergencies, attackers may pose as rescue workers to abduct or exploit victims who are desperate for help. No matter how desperate you are or how urgent the situation may be, you want to always make sure that you verify the credentials of anyone claiming to be a rescuer. Stay in groups, stay vigilant, and never follow anyone into isolated locations. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will definitely save your life. Some victims of abductions are kept alive only for psychological torture. Certain predators derive pleasure from inflicting mental torment, forcing victims to witness atrocities or convincing them that they will never ever be rescued. This slow-breaking tactic leaves permanent scars. If you're ever abducted, try to stay mentally resilient. Focus on surviving each moment and observe certain details that may lead to your rescue or escape. Traffickers can drug you and abduct you in a very crowded area without anyone noticing. Predators often use tactics like injecting victims with sedatives in busy areas or spiking their drinks at social gatherings, making abductions appear as someone helping a drunk or sick friend. Always watch your drinks, stay with trusted friends, and avoid accepting open drinks from strangers. People can disappear in seconds while walking to their car. Abductors often target victims in parking lots and gas stations, attacking and grabbing them while they're distracted or loading items. This has happened in many documented cases, and many victims are never seen again. Always stay hyper-aware in isolated parking areas. You must always keep your keys in your hand. You must make sure that you lock all the doors and windows as soon as you enter your car, and avoid distractions like your phone. Stay safe. Here's some facts that will save your life. Most human traffickers are actually women. In most human trafficking, while men are the ones who dominate the leadership networks, it's actually women who are often the ones recruiting and deceiving victims. They often exploit the women trust women mentality to lower defenses. This also goes for children as well. If anything, this goes for everyone as well, including men, because women are more likely to be perceived as trustworthy. They are often more effective at abducting people because their presence feels less threatening. The very scary thing about this is that not many people know this. They assume that the majority of human traffickers are operated by men, but in reality, women actually dominate this. But it's not because these women are predatory. It's also important to note as well that many of these women were once victims themselves, broken and coerced into becoming predators. And because being a woman itself is usually connoted to being nurturing and being motherly, children fall for this trap. That trust becomes a weapon, and the cycle feeds itself, ultimately turning vulnerability into a trap from which few can escape. It should always go without saying as well that many victims of human trafficking, from all forms of human trafficking, only 5% or less ever make it out alive or ever seen again. This is why it is so important that you, number 1, stay with others, avoid being alone or isolated. Number 2, refuse help at all cost. Refuse any rides or favors from strangers. Number 3, you must be very quick to move to safety. Head to a well-lit and populated area if you're ever approached or you feel that something is off. Specifically run towards crowds or security where you can be heard. Number 4, watch your drinks and know your exits. Always stay alert. Cause a scene if you're ever confronted. Remember to scream or yell to draw attention. And number 6 is absolute last resort, but call for help. Use your phone to alert someone or call emergency services immediately. These steps might sound cliche, but when you really think about it, these can save your life. Stay safe. Here's some facts that'll definitely save your life. A brain-eating amoeba can kill you in days if you swim in warm, stagnant water. Naegleria fowleri is a microscopic organism that thrives in freshwater environments such as lakes, rivers, hot springs, and even inadequately chlorinated pools. It becomes especially active in temperatures between 77 and 115 degrees Fahrenheit, often during summer or warmer climates. The amoeba infects people when contaminated water enters the nose, usually during activities like swimming, diving, or using neti pots with untreated water. Once inside, the amoeba travels through the nasal passage to the brain, causing primary amoebic meningoencephalitis, a rare but almost always fatal condition. Early symptoms such as headache, fever, nausea, and vomiting mimic those of other illnesses. But the disease progresses rapidly, leading to seizures, hallucinations, and within 1 to 18 days, death. Survival rate is extremely low, and the fatality is 98%, meaning to say that less than 2% result to recovery. Avoiding Naegleria fowleri is extremely crucial, and to avoid your risk of exposure, avoid swimming or submerging your head in warm and untreated fresh water, especially in areas with known amoeba activities. And if you're somehow foolish enough that you do end up swimming, always wear a nose clip to prevent water from entering your nostrils. Do not use untreated or inadequately boiled tap water to rinse your nose. Remember to always boil water for at least 1 minute. Use distilled water or filter using a 0.2 micron filter before use. And always maintain and chlorinate pools and hot tubs to prevent amoeba growth. Understanding the conditions in which Naegleria fowleri thrives and taking precautions can significantly reduce your risk. And while your chances of being infected by a Naegleria fowleri are very low, the consequences are devastating and deadly, making prevention and awareness crucial. Stay safe. Here's some facts that'll definitely save your life. One of the most distressing and unnerving tactics that predators use is they hide in the backseat of a car and wait for a driver to enter and drive off before launching an attack. This method is especially common in isolated or dimly lit areas like parking garages, late at night, or when drivers are isolated and distracted. The chilling reality is that once you're inside, you're essentially trapped in a confined and controlled environment with little opportunities to escape.
Always check the back seat of your car.
Always glance into your car's back seat before entering, even during the day or familiar areas. Use your phone's flashlight if the visibility is poor. Lock your car immediately. After exiting your vehicle, lock it, even if you're just running a quick errand. Always remember that unlocked vehicles are very easy targets. You may want to park strategically. Always choose well-lit or busy areas close to entrances or exits. Try your absolute best to avoid parking near large vans or trucks where you could be blocked from view. Always stay alert. Remember to avoid distractions like your phone when walking to your car. And always be mindful of your surroundings and be wary of anyone loitering nearby. This tactic preys on complacency and routine, making it all the more terrifying. Vigilance and small safety habits can mean the difference between vulnerability and survival. Stay safe. Here's a fact that will definitely save your life. The second location, rule of death, is one of the most distressing and disturbing and one of the most universally acknowledged truths when it comes to violent crimes. This rule basically entails that if a predator ever tries to move you to a second location, be it a car, a secluded building, or any place away from the public view, they are almost always certainly planning to inflict torture or murder. The moment you are taken there, be it if you comply or they forcefully take you in, they gain complete control and your chances of survival drop so significantly that it is almost impossible to escape. It is extremely rare that you will ever find a documented case of anyone who was taken to a second location and were ever seen again. Research shows that victims who resist during the initial confrontation are far more likely to survive than those who comply and are taken to a second location. The second location is not for negotiation. It's for the execution of the predator's full intentions. Never comply. No matter what the threats are and no matter how intimidating the predator or predators are, refuse to go. Do not get into that vehicle. Do not let them take you. Do not let them grab you. Fight for your life. Fight like your life depends on it, because it does. Do anything and everything in the moment. Remember that your survival depends on staying in a public and visible area. Resist immediately. Literally scream, fight, use objects as weapon, and make as much chaos and noise as possible. If you're held at gunpoint or a knife is pointed directly at you, just know that being severely injured and surviving or dying while fighting is much better than the horror that awaits in that second location. Even if you get injured, your chances of survival are far higher if you resist early. A very important thing to note as well is that you should try to extract some form of DNA from the predator, such as scratching them, biting them, pulling strands of their hair, etc., etc. This is because by doing this, no matter what the circumstances, no matter what outcome, no matter if you die or not, if you are found, you are more likely to receive justice and compensation, and your perpetrator is more likely to be identified or caught because of the DNA that is extracted. This situation is not for the weak. Consider everything I told you and apply these steps immediately. Trust instincts over politeness. Predators often manipulate victims into compliance through psychological tricks. If something ever feels wrong, act decisively. I'm gonna say this again. Once isolated, it's too late. Never ever let yourself be taken. Your life depends on staying where others can hear and see you. Stay safe out there. Here is a fact that will definitely save your life. If you're ever in a scenario where you have gone 2.5 or even more days without water and you have to choose between having to drink dirty water without any way to sanitize it or drinking no water at all, drink that water. Going for at least 2.5 days with no water whatsoever means that your body is about to enter into a severe state of dehydration. At this point, the most important priority is to rehydrate at all costs. If you don't rehydrate soon, you'll definitely die. I repeat, if your only option is water that you can't sanitize, it's better to drink it than risk going another day without any hydration. It's very important to note that dehydration can quickly become life-threatening, causing organ failure, confusion, and death. It should also really go without saying as well that the human body can survive for at least 3 to 5 days without water, depending on the environment and the person's condition. Yes, drinking contaminated water can expose you to potentially dangerous pathogens like viruses, parasites, and bacteria, but it's also very important to note as well that the diseases from contaminated water typically shows for days or even weeks before developing and showing any symptoms. This buys you time, potentially a few days, before any severe illness sets in. On the other hand, not drinking water at all would lead to death far sooner, often within 48 hours. Drink that water immediately. This gives you time to find help, and when you do find help, your doctor can fix what's happening in your body. They can certainly fix a fever and an upset stomach. They can't fix dead. Stay safe. Here is a fact that will save your life. They are not dead until they are warm and dead. The phrase that was just told is actually a principle in emergency medicine for severe cases of hypothermia, where the body's core temperature drops so low that the vital signs such as heartbeat, brain activity, or breathing becomes nearly undetectable. This fact, or should I say, this principle may be a little different because this primarily only affects those who live in colder climates. Cold climates usually create these conditions, but it can happen in less extreme climates, such as cold water immersions or chilly nights. The cold slows down metabolism and oxygen demand, protecting the brain and organs, making revival possible even after that person appears clinically dead. Many cases exist where individuals with core temperatures as cold as 13.7 degrees Celsius or 56.7 degrees Fahrenheit have been revived using advanced medical techniques such as controlled rewarming or ECMO. However, it is very important to note that this really only applies to hypothermia victims, not those who are truly frozen solid, because freezing can cause irreversible cellular damage. It is crucial to understand that survival in this case depends on timely rescue, proper care, and controlled warming, emphasizing deeply that cold climates can blur the line between life and death. Stay safe. Here is a fact that will save your life. Rocks that are found in riverbeds often have very porous structure, meaning to say that they can absorb water over time. Do not use them to make a fire pit, as they can be extremely dangerous. This is because that when these rocks are heated quickly, such as when placed directly at fire, the trapped water can boil. That intense heat will cause the steam to build faster than it can escape, causing an internal pressure that can form within the rock. And since the rock can't release the steam fast enough, the pressure becomes too much and the rock literally explodes, causing sharp and very hot fragments flying. What's terrifying about this is that you often don't get any indication whatsoever that the rock will explode moment before it does, meaning to say that people literally stand in front of the fireplace and it explodes, causing extreme injury and blindness. Hence, river rocks are particularly dangerous for this reason. To avoid this risk, it is important that you don't use river rocks to build fire pits. Instead, use fire-safe stones like granite, which are less likely to absorb water and explode when exposed to heat. Alternatively as well, fire bricks are a good option as they are specifically designed to withstand intense temperatures. It's not worth your risk. Do not use river rocks to make a fire pit. Remember to always prioritize your safety when working with fire and rocks. Stay safe. Here's a fact that will save your life. Predators have been known to exploit the innate compassion of others by using women, children, or visibly vulnerable individuals as bait. Think about it. A crying child, a woman asking for help with a heavy item, or simply someone feigning a disability can be used to make you lower your guard. Once you approach, they strike and they ambush, counting on the element of surprise and your disorientation. These traps are most commonly set in isolated or poorly lit areas, like parking lots or roadsides at night. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Trust your gut instincts. If your gut is telling you that something is off, especially if the situation feels too perfectly helpless, run immediately. Predators often rely on setup that seem designed to directly tug at your empathy. Keep your distance. Do not approach someone asking for help in an isolated area, especially at night. What you must do instead is offer assistance by calling emergency services or nearby authorities who are better equipped at handling the situation. And this is where you may find the truth. They may either become belligerent at you or immediately flee. That's how you know they had hidden intentions. In such cases where they become aggressive at you, stay away from them at all costs. Stay in a safe position. If you're in a car, remain inside your vehicles with the doors locked and the windows up. Do not get out of your vehicle. Offer to call for help without exiting the vehicle. If there is no signal or there's no way of calling for help whatsoever, literally just drive away. At the first opportunity or at the nearest emergency service, call for help then. Avoid isolation at all costs. If you really feel that bad and are compelled to help, at least recruit others or alert security. Predators are less likely to act when other people are present. I cannot stress enough that staying alert and prioritizing your safety doesn't make you cold or heartless. It's a necessary precaution in an unpredictable world. Stay safe. Here are some facts that will definitely save your life. Phone snatching or phone thievery are on the rise and are more dangerous than you think. Phone thievery can be extremely life-threatening, especially if it involves the phone being used as a gateway for other crimes. This is how they get you. The second they grab your phone, this is what they do. They go to the settings, right? They enable the airplane mode, and what they do next is that they turn your phone off so that you cannot track your own phone. Always understand that the second they do this, there's no immediate way to track your phone. This is how you can stop this from happening. You can go to your Face ID and passcode on settings. You press this, you fill out your password. Once you get into this tab, you usually scroll down. That's when you can find the Control Center tab and you press that. Turn it off. Now, if you turn this off, usually what happens is that they can't access your control center, so there's no way to turn on airplane mode. And you can maximize this even further. This is what you can also do. You can also go to your account, your iCloud account, go to Find My, press Find My Phone, and then you make sure that you turn these all on. That way, when the thieves try to turn off your phone, it will say phone findable after power off. Don't forget to follow and like. Take care, God bless, and stay safe.